Kevin Lewis, one of the attorneys at Cornerstone. Today we're going to take a look at some very popular scenes of courtroom footage in media, movies, television. Some of these I'm sure you've probably seen yourself. I'm going to walk through them with you, explain what's real, what's not, and what would most likely happen in these circumstances in real life. So first we're going to look at a clip from a classic 90s comedy featuring Adam Sandler and Jon Stewart. This is the courtroom scene from Big Daddy.
I'd like to call upon myself, Your Honor.
Awesome. And which of your esteemed co-counsels will be examining you?
My father, Lenny Koufax.
What?
What is most certainly the appropriate reaction there? While in certain cases, lawyers can testify at trial, it's usually pretty rare and pretty limited. So far, this certainly isn't something that I think would fly.
Your Honor, there's nobody in this world who thinks I shouldn't have a child more than that man back there. He also happens to be one of the most respected lawyers in all of Florida, so I figure if I can make a believer out of him, I can make a believer out of everybody in this court.
That's actually an interesting tact, and one that myself and other lawyers have used. If you think you can convince somebody who has every reason to be against you to testify in your favor, that's certainly something that can shift the whole tide of a case for you.
Objection, Your Honor. This court is after the truth, not the opinion of the defendant's father.
You want my opinion? My son is a moron.
I withdraw my objection. Please proceed.
Mr. Koufax?
Big mistake, Sonny. Only reason I came today is to make sure you didn't end up in jail for this.
Well, then, that was nice of you. Thank you.
To do what I think is right here.
Okay.
After this is over, get your fingernails cut. They're too long.
Okay, Dad.
Not a professional opinion, but that's the kind of thing that my wife or my mother would do if they were cross-examining me. They'd make sure to comment on my nails or my hair or the straightness of my tie.
It is absurd to think that Sonny Koufax is ready to raise a child.
Objection!
Shut up, Tommy.
Sorry, Mr. Koufax.
First of all, how did this sweet little boy, Julian, end up under your supervision?
I told social services that my name was Kevin Garrity.
And of course, you are not Kevin Garrity.
No.
So you're lying.
Yes.
Like the time I found a bag of pot in your underwear drawer. And you
That
told
would
me
be a
that you
time to
thought
object.
they were pencil shavings. My son doesn't have health insurance. He doesn't know how to boil an egg. He
I think that
filed for
describes
Social
more people than
Security
we'd
at
like
the
to
age
admit
of
these
30.
days.
He is a drain on the economy, on the country, and most of all, on me!
And I'm gonna give him advice, and I'm gonna guide him, and I'm gonna be there for him whenever he needs me. I'll fly to New York to be at his court case, even if I disagree with why he's there in the first place.
Sonny, you work in a toll booth.
Don't be scared about me making money. I am in love with a beautiful girl who makes plenty of it. She'll be my sugar mama.
Not something I would recommend ever
I
saying
know
in
this is
court.
the right thing to do, Dad, because I would die for this kid, just so he wouldn't have to feel 1 ounce of sadness.
That's why you're here right now, to protect me, to be scared for me.
To be a good father. And that's exactly what I'm gonna be.
There's few times that being in court is an emotionally heartwarming thing, but having gotten to see adoptions and moments not quite like that one, but pretty close, are nice reminders of why we do the things that we do.
Mr. Castellucci?
Pending a blood test, whatever.
Anybody who's been practicing law long enough knows exactly how that feels. I've certainly have never seen the whole courtroom-wide round of applause, except for some when they do courtroom weddings. And yeah, usually in real life, you know, your movement in the courtroom and your ability to just kind of shout things out is very restricted. A lot of the comments from the gallery, so to speak, probably wouldn't have happened quite as freely as they did there. However, the judge's reaction was honestly pretty close to what might happen in real life, as cold and as unfeeling as it might seem. That struck me, unfortunately, is probably the most realistic bit in that scene. For realism out of 10, it was pretty incredible. I'm going to go with maybe a 3. Now we have a clip from the ever-popular Saturday Night Live with another figure from my childhood, Kenan Thompson, playing the honorable judge. Let's take a look at what we've got.
One final question, Mr. Miller, and I know this has been a difficult experience to relive.
It has.
Do you feel that you are in any way at fault for your friends and family being eaten?
Of course not. All I know is that I miss them.
All he knows is that he misses them. No further questions.
You're a witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. All he knows is that he misses them. And that might be true, but that is not why we are here today.
The dramatic repeating of the key line actually is pretty realistic, especially when you've got a jury. I've seen that used as a vehicle for making points many, many times.
We are here to determine whether my client, Jurassic Park, the beautiful island full of real-life dinosaurs, is responsible for the deaths of Mr. Miller's friends and family when all the dinosaurs got out. And I say no.
I say yes.
Your Honor, permission to treat the witness as hostile.
No, man.
Usually treating the witness as hostile is a request to relax some of the rules in terms of the questions you can ask and the way you can ask them because of the demeanor that the witness has displayed and their propensity to be either dodging questions or just outright lying.
Definitely not.
In this case, no, there hadn't been enough to suggest that he could.
So, Mr. Miller, Jurassic World shouldn't have to pay you money even though you agreed to waive all rights to sue the park.
What? No, I did not agree to that.
Exhibit A.
Again, that's something that should not happen, but witnesses arguing from the stand is something that happens quite often. My recommendation as a lawyer, don't do it. It'll only get you in hotter water.
It's covered in my friend Scott's blood.
Well, then move your friend Scott's blood around with your finger until you can read it.
Snarky lawyers are usually frowned upon as well. That tough guy routine is one that I've seen a lot, but again, it usually, while entertaining, doesn't work out too well.
It says Jurassic World is not responsible for lost or damaged items.
Like your friends and family.
Well, I don't consider my friends and family items.
But the law does.
Let the record show that the law does not.
I've seen judges do that too when lawyers get too carried away. That's actually pretty realistic.
Did you have a good time at Jurassic Park?
No, it was the single worst experience of my life.
Please direct your attention to the monitor. This is an Instagram story posted by Mr. Miller on the date in question.
What up, Instagram? We have Jurassic World right now!
All right, stop. Sure sounded like you were having fun to me. Good time, liar.
Okay, request permission to show the rest of the video.
Your Honor, I do not see why that would be relevant in this case.
Permission granted.
That's absolutely true. You can't just show convenient seconds of footage when you're showing film. You do have to show enough to give the entire context of what you're trying to present.
And then one of those big new genetically engineered ones that you guys made with like the giant claws.
Yeah, the Psychosaurus, yes.
Yeah, that guy came in and he ate the dinosaur that ate my brother.
He ate my brother. That guy came in. And yet, Mr. Miller, may I remind you and the court that all dinosaurs at Jurassic Park are female.
Something you see all the time. As silly as it sounds or ridiculous as it sounds, but some lawyers will latch on to the most menial of discrepancies like one you see there.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will now begin deliberations to reach a verdict.
We have reached a verdict already. We all just kind of looked at each other and nodded. We find the defendant, Jurassic World theme park, guilty of charges. They gotta learn, the dinosaurs always get out.
That they do. That they do.
So aside from the dinosaur stuff, that clip was actually closer to accurate. As the learned Judge Kenan Thompson even noted, typically a judge wouldn't offer that much side commentary on a jury trial. Having said that, his reactions, I thought, were as accurate as they could be in the situation. More importantly, though, a jury would never stand up and say, we've already reached a determination. They have to be given directions. They have to be given instruction by the judge. It's a long and, frankly, very boring process. But they would never be allowed to immediately come to a decision like that. Having said that, again, for what it was, I found it more accurate than the Big Daddy scene, so I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. This is another 90s classic with 90s icon Jim Carrey, a scene that I'm sure that many, many people are familiar with. Here's the courtroom scene from Liar Liar.
Do I dare ask you to call your next witness?
Certainly felt that way on the inside before, but certainly I never want to look like that.
I want my money. I am not going to end up as 31-year-old divorcee on welfare because my scumbag attorney had a sudden attack of conscience.
There are entirely too many clients like that.
31.
If Mr. Reed has no further witnesses, then I have no choice but to rule in favor of...
Your Honor! I call Samantha Cole to the stand.
Order. Order!
In any trial, you have to present your list of witnesses well in advance. This is one of my favorite and probably the most popular courtroom tropes, is the shocked murmuring in the chamber at the surprise witnesses. I can tell you that almost never happens because, as I said, these are things that are cleared with the court usually weeks, if not months in advance.
Mrs. Cole, is this a copy of your driver's license?
You also have to show your exhibits to everyone before you start asking questions instead of just waving them in the witness's face.
Your Honor, I object.
You would!
Hey! Quiet! Overruled!
That has happened. Objections can get very testy and have the lawyers going at each other, and judges do not like it, as we see here.
I changed it so I could get married.
And the truth shall set you free! My client lied about her age. She was only 17 when she got married, which makes her a minor. And in the great state of California, no minor can enter into any legal contract without parental consent, including
Prenuptial agreements.
prenuptial agreements! This contract is void. Standard community property applies, and she is entitled to half of the marital assets, or $11.395 million. Jordan fades back, swoosh, and that's the game!
Other than the Jordan impression, I have seen attorneys get exactly that excited when they know they've got a great argument. Maybe myself included. So I'll say, in general, that is, unfortunately, the most realistic courtroom scene we've looked at so far. Although I will note one thing. While the movie is correct that a prenuptial agreement could very well be found to be entirely void because she was a minor, marriage is also a contract. And so a good lawyer would point out that the marriage was invalid from the beginning, and Mrs. Cole might very well end up with nothing. Having said that, and apart from the beloved Mr. Carey's overacting, much of this was pretty close, so I'm going to give this maybe an 8 out of 10 for accuracy. And finally, we have a scene from, not one I'm familiar with, but one that's popular with many people. Here's the courtroom scene from Medea Goes to Jail.
Miss Washington, you were arrested for prostitution.
Yes, Your Honor, she was. Miss Washington,
Joshua?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I need to pass this case to my colleague. It seems that I know this defendant.
Then get it to one of your colleagues.
Surprisingly, while I'm sure that's happened behind the scenes, I don't think I've ever seen that happen in a courtroom, which in smaller areas where everyone knows everyone is a touch surprising.
Well, Your Honor, this woman was simply walking home from the bus stop when she...
Save it. Bail is set at $1,500, cash or bond until trial date.
$1,500?
Yes, $1,500. Miss Washington, if you manage to make bail, you better be back here for your trial. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
If you're not here, you will regret it.
I will say that judges very often have these kind of personalities. I think society pictures our common pleas judges as being very straight-laced and straight-edge and proper and formal, and sometimes they are, but they have personalities just like the rest of us. And in my experience, more judges than not are pretty colorful and pretty interesting characters on the bench.
Hey, Jared. Oh, Carol, your hair is so pretty. Who doing your hair? Lord have mercy. How you doing?
Mabel Simmons, you come before me more than you go to the doctor for a check.
I have seen judges who are very familiar with defendants and have said very similar things to them.
I am living for the Lord. I am living for the Lord. Hallelujah. I feel him down in my spirit.
I have seen defendants who have nothing else to say give very similar speeches.
I saw the video, and I told you that if she came back before me again, she was going to jail. She's going to jail this time.
You're weak ass. You're supposed to be a lawyer. You're supposed to be getting me off. Weak ass. I gotta get me a real lawyer.
Again, too many of my poor brothers and sisters of the bar, myself included, have had to endure this from clients who can't seem to see the error of their own ways.
Your Honor, there's something you need to understand,
Right,
though.
there's nothing you can do. She's going to jail this time.
I don't know about that.
And why not?
Apparently, Your Honor, our officers forgot to Mirandize her.
I was waiting for Miranda to come in there and nobody came in there. I was waiting for her. That's right. Ain't nobody Miranda me. Miranda wasn't even in the room.
Excuse me?
We were fighting for our lives, Your Honor.
You forgot to Mirandize her?
That old woman got the strength of any man.
Most people are familiar with what the Miranda rights or being Mirandized are, even if they don't know it. The Miranda rights are your right to remain silent, your right to an attorney, the warning that anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law, things we've all heard from Law and Order and every police show we've ever watched. However, as simple as they seem and as much as we tend to take them for granted, they are very, very important, because what you saw there in Medea's case is exactly what would happen. If there was no Miranda, the charges would have to be dismissed. And I'm not sure that the judge would even have the authority at that point to send her to anger management or to suspend her license. So it's a simple thing. It's, again, something we're all familiar with, but it is a critically, critically important part of the criminal process.
I've got to let you go.
You gotta let me go.
As much as I hate it, I have to.
Yes, you do.
But I'm going to suspend your driver's license indefinitely.
You could suspend my license. My license been suspended here. You ain't...
Again, could have been taken directly from an actual court transcript.
38 years. What the hell you talking about? Gonna suspend my life? What that's gonna do? I got keys.
Announcing that to the court and basically admitting that she had been driving on a suspended license for some period of time, in theory, could expose her to additional charges.
I'm going to order you to anger management counseling.
She'll take it. Thank you, Your Honor. We appreciate it.
Go see the clerk. Get the paperwork done and get her out of my courtroom now. Calm down, officer. It's your fault you forgot to Mirandize her.
This is ridiculous.
Take care, Judge. I love you, but I got to go.
But the saving grace is, she couldn't stay out of trouble if you paid her. She'll be back.
So there again, on a more lighthearted scale than what we watched in Liar Liar, again, aside from some of the over-the-top antics, what you saw there is pretty close to how some of those hearings go between defendants who just don't know when to keep their mouth shut, defendants who like to argue with their lawyers, and judges who have seen the same defendant one too many times. That's all pretty accurate. So I'm going to say, again, despite Mr. Perry in drag, I'll give that a 9 out of 10 for accuracy. I've enjoyed walking through these clips with you. I hope you got as many laughs out of it as I did. More importantly, I hope you have a little bit of a better understanding of what court looks like in our society today. But if you have any real questions, or find yourself with relatives eaten, or are fighting valiantly for the custody of your child, the people who can really help you are the fine attorneys at Cornerstone, and I hope you'll give us a call.